This is the oldest known list of human rulers, written at the very start of civilization. It records individual reigns lasting up to 43,200 years. Yet nestled within these impossible timelines are names of leaders we know were real, physical people. We find this information recorded on the Weld-Blundell Prism. It is a four-sided clay block housed at the Ashmolean Museum, inscribed nearly 4,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia. The text isn't written like a collection of myths or legends. It's formatted as a dry administrative tally, a spreadsheet of kingship that tracks power as it moves from one city-state to the next. The entries for the era before the Great Flood are staggering. It lists King Alulim as ruling for 28,800 years and Alalingar with a 36,000-year reign. In total, the list identifies exactly 8 kings who ruled before the floodwaters arrived. When you add their tenures together, you get a combined era of 241,200 years. For modern historians, this creates a fundamental conflict. The Sumerians didn't categorize these entries as fiction or folklore. To them, this was the literal chronological foundation of their world. Academics generally use 2 primary theories to make sense of these numbers. The first is that we are looking at a massive cross-cultural translation error. The error stems from a clash of math. While we use a base 10 system, the Sumerians used a sexagesimal system, or base 60, where numbers were grouped in units of 60 and 3600. If a later scribe mistakenly applied the square of that base, 60 times 60, to a standard human reign, the numbers would balloon. A reasonable lifespan of a few decades would instantly transform into a reign of tens of thousands of years. The second theory is political. The most complete version of this list was redacted around 1800 BC, during the Isin dynasty, a time of significant political instability. By stretching the reigns of ancient kings back into the deep past, the Isin rulers could claim that the concept of a united Mesopotamian monarchy was eternal, a divine institution that had existed since kingship was first lowered from heaven. Whether it was a clerical mistake or a state-sponsored lie, both theories allow us to comfortably dismiss these early numbers as something other than history. But that comfort disappears when the list crosses the threshold into the archaeological record. The transition from myth to reality happens without a single break in the document's formatting. Take the ruler Enmebaragesi. The list claims he reigned for 900 years, placing him firmly in the realm of the impossible early kings. However, Enmebaragesi is the first person on this list whose existence is independently confirmed by physical artifacts. We have found his name on stone fragments from the period, proving he was a genuine historical figure. Even more striking is the presence of Gilgamesh. The hero of the world's most famous epic appears on this exact same list, logged as a standard king of the city of Uruk. There is no divider on the clay, no footnote telling us where the myths end and the history begins. Confirmed kings and 28,000-year-old immortals are treated as the same type of data. The Sumerian worldview doesn't recognize our modern distinction between the legendary and the factual. To them, there was no separate era of mythology, only a single, continuous record of time. This blending of unimaginable lifespans with historical lineages wasn't unique to the Sumerians. It appears to be a shared hallmark of ancient cultures across the entire Near East. The most prominent parallel is found in the Book of Genesis, which records its own roster of figures living through a pre-flood era. Comparing these lists reveals structural similarities too precise to be coincidence. Sumer records 8 pre-flood kings. The Bible identifies 10 patriarchs. Figures like Methuselah lived nearly 1,000 years, grounded compared to Sumerian tens of thousands, yet still impossible by our standards. The connection is mathematical. If you take the lifespans of the biblical patriarchs, represent them in the Sumerian base 60 format, and then assume a later scribe mistakenly summed them using sexagesimal rules, the totals become equivalent. The 241,200-year Sumerian total appears to be a direct mathematical misinterpretation of the same data used in Genesis. This suggests that both civilizations were drawing from the same archaic source, an oral or written tradition that predates both cultures, and preserves a specific shared memory of a time before a massive regional catastrophe. The Sumerian King List is more than a broken history book. It is a snapshot of the exact moment when the distant oral memory of a civilization finally froze into written records. What do you believe these numbers represent? A clerical error or a genuine record of a different kind of time? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for our deep dives into the Anunnaki in Day 8 and the archaeology of the Great Flood in Day 9.